Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to take a look at a fun trap in the Ruy Lopez Berlin. Yes, you heard it, in the Berlin defense. Now this is very much known to be a very drawish line. In fact, even Kramnik was able to win the World Chess Championship because he was able to draw games whenever he's playing black against Kasparov in this opening. And after that, it caught on with much popularity, especially for its endgames. With that being said, we're not going for endgame today. We're going to go ahead and go for the attack. Here we go. We start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, the Ruy Lopez. Here we go. We got the Berlin defense, knight f6, not pawn a6, which is the Morphy defense. We're playing the Berlin over here with knight to f6. This makes the game a lot more equal. And, well, again, we'll give you those end games and drawish games, which we don't particularly like. Here we want to play for the win. Here, white goes ahead and castles. And here, black goes ahead and plays bishop c5. Yes, knight takes e4 is another way to play, but this actually does give white better chances because you can go into the open game. And, we're not going to look at this one just today. Here, we're going to look at bishop to c5. Oof, I can't even pronounce this one. The Berwick variation. And, well, it looks like a good move as the bishop comes out to go ahead and put pressure on f2, which is typically one of the weak squares for the king. With that being said, here white has the idea of knight takes on e5 and knight to d4 here. And this is very much looking like that shilling gambit, which has been very, very popular these days. Okay, was there a reason why knight takes on e5 was not played? If you do play knight takes on e5, this is just the center trick. After this, white plays pawn to d4. They're going to win back their piece, and they're going to have a good position here. All right, so that's why black goes ahead and plays knight to d4 here for a nice tempo attacking the bishop. Okay, white goes ahead and plays bishop c4, not wanting to lose any tempos here. Now the bishop is now aiming at f7, and, well, most people here are just going to go ahead and castle. With that being said, the trap has been set. Let's go ahead and play it. Pawn to d6 here. Okay, if you don't take on f7, I mean, that's the reason why you played it. Here we're going to take on f7 here, forking the queen and the rook. And believe it or not, the rook is taboo. And he sacks the rook. It's one of those types of positions. Here, of course, we're not going to sack our queen. Let's go ahead and play it. Queen over to e7. Now, white does have a good advantage here. But again, they cannot take the rook. But, I mean, how hard is it to not take a rook here? Here they go. Knight takes on h8. And now it is black who is now in a winning position. Black to move. What do you play here? After this, the fireworks have been set and they're about to launch. What do you play in this position right here to get a negative 0.5, basically being up a whole extra rook, which is funny because we just lost a rook. All right, hopefully you see it. At this point, we're going to go and develop with bishop to g4 here. And at this point, it is black's queen, or white's queen that is having trouble here. I mean, what do you play here? In the game, white went ahead and played pawn to f3 and got dismantled. But with that being said, what else can you really play here? If you play queen to e1, here comes knight takes c2, and the queen is still going to be trapped here, along with the fork here for the queen and the rook. Oof, not too good over here. And, well, you can't block with the bishop. The same thing will happen. So here, yep, f3 got played, and now hopefully you see it. Let's go ahead and crush through with an attack. At this point, white's king just becomes very, very weakened. Remember, try not to move pawns in front of your king. All right, what happened here? Here we get to play knight takes f3, double check here with the bishop and the knight. The king really has nowhere good to go. The king went ahead and went to h1, and here knight takes on h2. I mean, at this point, the trap is pretty much done. Black is already at -7, but if you want to go ahead and stick around and check out the rest of the game here, and, well, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. All right, back to the game. Here, white went ahead and played queen to e1 here. As you can see here, the queen is not taking this bishop as the knight is defending it, and the king doesn't want to take as the bishop will take the queen. Okay, here we go. Queen to e1 got played. Knight takes on f1. Queen takes on f1 is going to be played, but here they added in the inter-Samoa, or in-between move, bishop to f7 check. I can't say this really helped out the position too much, but, you know, whenever you're in worse positions, it is good to try and mix things up. All right, the king jumps to d7 here. Makes sense. Here, this is just good for black because now you're allowing the rook to attack the knight, but also just the rook to slide over into the game in general. You can see white's pieces over here are pretty much all asleep, and the other pieces over here, well, they're just uncoordinated and not really making any threats. All right, queen takes on f1 now. Rook takes on h8. Let's gather up that extra free piece over here. Queen c4. bringing in the queen in and also defending the bishop. Again, best here was not something like this, but maybe we should just bring the bishop back to b3 and slowly start to bring out our pieces if you can survive in this position. So queen c4 went ahead and got played. And here, black is just ready for the attack. Knight takes on e4. An easy win of a pawn here, plus coming up with lots of checking threats, and it opens up the queen to come into the game. Okay, here comes white. Pawn to d4. Now, believe it or not, it is a forced checkmate in 4 moves. I'm sorry, in 8 moves over here. Are you ready? Here we go. We start with knight to g3 check, king over to h2. This actually hastens it a little bit faster here, but if they do play king to g1, queen e1 check gets played, king h2, knight f1 check, and you're forced to trade off the queen for the knight here. If you do not, then, well, when the king moves back, now it's going to be knight d2 check. You're going to lose the queen either way. Plus, we're going to be getting these checkmate squares very fast. All right, back over here. So here, after knight to g3 check, the king went to h2. Now it is checkmate in 5. Queen to h4 check, king to g1. And now, believe it or not, black to move, bishop takes on d4. It's a move that you want to play, but it's like, can't the queen just take? Well, the queen can take, and if you don't, well, I mean, you have to, right? There's no other move to make. So after the queen takes over here in d4, knight e2 check gets played, king over to f1, and now, well, can you see the checkmate in 2 here? Hopefully it's not too hard for you. Here we're just going to go ahead and play. Queen over to h1. The king cannot really run anywhere. You can run to f2 if you want to. The same move gets played. And of course, if the queen blocks over, we're just going to checkmate on g1. And if the king tries to run to f2, same idea. We're going to go ahead and play queen over to g1 for check and mate. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. This was the Ruy Lopez Berlin trap, where black actually gets to play for some initiative. We'll see you in the next game.